So I had this article forwarded to me the other day about an entrepreneur that spends $160,000 plus in 1 year on clothing, and he's able to show how he got a $700,000 return on that investment. In today's video, I'm going to examine exactly what he did, how he could have done it better. I'm going to give you my thoughts on why this worked for this entrepreneur, but most importantly, I'm going to give you information so that you can use clothing to get what you want out of life. So I'm going to start this video off by laying out some of the facts. The guy in question, his name is Neil Patel. You can go look him up. I've known about Neil for almost 10 years. The guy is deadly smart. He's a conversions expert. He owns multiple websites. He came out of the Southern California area. He's of Indian descent, and he is just a smart guy. I've met many people that know him. I haven't met him in person, but I can say he's one of those people that I look to for information. So when I see that in 1 year, he spent $162,301.42. And he was able to show how he got a return, or basically he was able to make an additional $692,500. My ears perked up. So what he did is he had been tracking every meeting he was going into selling his services. And this guy charges a lot. And he was only closing 25% of meetings. Now, that was still pretty good from what he thought, because he's getting, paid very well. He's a multimillionaire. But what he noticed, and in the article he talks about this, he was able to increase his close rate from 25% to 40% when he started dressing the part. And he talks about, he'd always dressed okay. But when he started actually going, and these are the companies he bought clothing from. He went to Tom Ford, Dolce & Gabbana, and Burberry. That's where he says, hey, I bought pretty much conservative clothing. Didn't get anything outlandish. So we're talking blacks, we're talking grays, we're talking whites. Overall, blue, maybe some blues in there, but really conservative, nothing outlandish until you get up close and you notice it's of great quality. The fit was spot on. He worked with their local tailors, and he just talks about how he spent all of this money at these name brand places, and instantly he started to see that when he would go into these meetings, people took him more seriously. That's key. But here's a guy that clearly says, I don't really care about clothing. I care about it as a tool, but I went out and he took an extreme view. And that's where this article gets interesting. So not everyone I know, many of you guys say, well, Antonio, I'm never going to be able to spend $160,000. I can't even spend $20,000. I can't spend $10,000. And that's what I love about this, is that he actually repeated this experiment. Now, in this case, this guy, Mike, went out and spent $10,000 on his wardrobe. And Mike immediately, when he was going to these networking events, and this guy was smart, he'd already been in business, but he noticed he started getting people coming up to him versus him having to try to sell other people on who he was and how he could help them with their business in sales. Mike was able to attest that, yes, this did work. And then the article, and I'm going to link to it down in the description, starts getting crazy because Mike apparently then went off and bought a Lamborghini. He goes around driving the Lamborghini, takes a couple pictures. Next thing you know, he's got people who follow him on social media wanting to do business with him. The thing is, and I know that most of us can't afford, I'm not going to go out and spend $160,000 on clothing. I'm not going to go out and I'm not going to buy a Lamborghini. But what I am wanting to bring to your attention is that this is real. When you have the courage to be the best dressed you, to stand out in your industry, to be the man that you know yourself to be, and not be afraid of a little bit extra attention, especially when it's good attention, opportunity comes your way. If you're in sales, if you're a doctor, if you're running a nonprofit, whatever, if you are a master electrician, get a uniform. I'm not talking about suits here. I'm simply using clothing to send the message you want to send. Guys, that's it. Have a little bit of fun with this video. Let me know if you liked it in the comments. And most importantly, I want to hear your stories. I want to see other articles where you're finding that people not in our industry are talking about how this actually has an effect. That's it, guys. I'll see you later.